All right. Let's just do this. Take 5. Welcome back to the Parking Lot Takes podcast, episode 2. That's Christian.
That's Brandon.
The movie might be over,
But the conversation just started.
we're really excited. We got a lot to talk about today. We've got Fantastic Four trailer.
Yep.
We've got some Jonathan Major news. We're going to talk MCU
Oh, we-
stuff. Do we not want to talk about it?
Why are we talking about the Jonathan Major news?
I think it would be fun.
What do you have to say about it? Let's go
He
ahead.
might be coming back as King the Conqueror.
No.
I think he might.
Why do you think that? They've already abandoned it.
Yeah, but like recent articles have said that I think there's been talks about him coming back. We can take it out.
No, I mean, we're definitely leaving it in.
You think so?
Yeah, because it's funny.
That's true.
Like, this is all staying in.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, Jonathan Majors. I think it's interesting
All right,
if he does come back.
Here's the news. He's back.
Confirmed by our sources.
In movies. Not the MCU, in movies.
That's true.
So-
that is fair.
Something about him other than his beautiful face and his huge
Jacked
arms
physique.
is appealing to Hollywood. So that's the news. We're done. We're
That
done
is the
talking
news.
about it.
Yeah,
Because honestly, they haven't done King right, so I don't
that's
care.
true. If he does come back, it's.
I don't even
to.
think if Downey kills Doom, I don't even think it's gonna be like worth it.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I don't think it is either.
Yeah.
But we're going to talk about a lot. MCU. We're going to start, though, with overall MCU. How we kind of feel, first 3 phases, kind of where we're at now.
Yeah, before we do that, I want to hear from good old Brandon Clark. What was the first Marvel movie you ever saw?
Ooh.
MCU,
Just MCU?
MCU movie. So Toby Spider-Man's out. Which I have a weird one for that. Mine was Fantastic Four. I saw
Really?
that before Spider-Man. Yeah.
So you mean not MCU or MCU?
I mean MCU. I was just saying.
Gotcha.
I think most people's is Maguire, but
Yes, very much
I
so.
saw the first
Oh,
Fantastic Four.
I see, before you ever
anything.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, because
really weird.
Spider-Man is typically the first one I would say is Iron Man, because I remember when it came out, I was at a friend's house and I had to call and ask my mom if I was allowed to watch the movie because I didn't know. I was like, "Mom, can I watch this?" And she's like, "Yes, you can watch it." And yeah, it would have been Iron Man.
Nice.
Now I didn't see it in theaters because I think like rented it on DVD or something like that. And we watched it like at his house.
Yeah.
But I remember calling. That was the first entry, which
Sweet.
I mean is the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was probably the first one.
Yeah, sweet.
What was yours? You think?
Mine was Iron Man.
Yeah, you think so?
I wasn't allowed to watch PG-13 movies.
Gotcha.
And I was at my buddy's house, and he had... I didn't even know what Iron Man was.
Yeah.
So I was not a Marvel person before Marvel movies came out,
Yeah.
which is something very special to say about the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a DC person just because of all the animated content
Yeah.
growing up that we had access to. There wasn't really a lot of Marvel stuff. But I had no idea who Iron Man was, and we watched the first Iron Man, which was amazing.
It is a great one. And I think that's just... I love that one so much because it did set off kind of a trajectory of growing up with these movies, essentially, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And that does lead into kind of... We grew up with these movies.
Yeah,
I mean, I think it's safe to say, speaking for you as well, we really love the MCU.
for sure.
Specifically, kind of these first 3 phases, the Infinity Saga is just unmatched.
Absolutely.
The
Totally
shared
agree.
universe aspects of it, they did it better than anyone could have, really.
So let me ask you real quick. Let me ask you something again real quick. Do you think... I have my answer. Do we look back at those MCU movies, those first 3 phases, with like rose-colored goggles because we grew up with it?
I don't think so.
I agree.
I don't think I do, because I definitely think, especially towards the back end of the MCU, I was older. I was getting, I think my taste was growing, and I was watching a lot, and I was still really enjoying them. Now, I think somebody who might be removed from them watching them maybe there's a little bit of that nostalgia, a little bit of those.
I mean, I think...
But I think there's still good movies, and I think the public kind of confirms that for me, too.
I mean, I saw all of Phase 1, except for Avengers.
Later?
I saw all of Phase 1 out of a theater. So Avengers was the first movie I saw in a theater, a Marvel movie I saw in a theater.
I think I'm with you, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was... I think I, like, through the years, pieced together... through the Iron Man 1 and 2, through Thor. I saw Thor pretty early on. I didn't see Captain America, First Avenger, till the very end, which makes sense because it's the last one before Avengers anyways. But I saw them in some weird order as I could get access to them.
Yeah.
And we went and saw Avengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Avengers especially because I saw it in 3D, and that was the highlight of my life at that point.
Yeah.
I was like, it doesn't get better than watching this movie in the theater.
My dad's, and I, like, growing up, we would watch Point Break, the original Point Break.
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, with Keanu and Patrick Swayze. Mm-hmm. And there's the Point Break joke.
Yes.
And so I think I'd sold that movie to my dad, like, Dad, they make a Point Break joke in the movie. We got to go see it.
And he was like, okay.
And he was like, all right, let's do it.
I'll take you. That's funny. Yeah, that first phase, though.
Solid.
That's a solid.
Not a miss. There's not a miss in there. Even the Incredible Hulk, I'm be like, it's
really
fine. It's fine.
It is
it's
fine.
Not. It's not
you.
bad.
No, I wouldn't say
it's
bad.
fine. Okay, it's not. There's not a miss. Okay.
Yeah, and it's like they were getting their footing too. I mean, it was the second one. It was Iron Man and then the Incredible Hulk.
And then the Incredible Hulk. Yeah.
So like you're building something here.
Yeah.
And I think for what it is, it is fine. I've watched it many times since then.
Yeah.
And every time I go, it's fun to watch.
Now I do think the way they shot Avengers,
yes,
I think it would have benefited having not done that Hulk movie. Not because they recasted, just because could you imagine if we went into Avengers and didn't really know if we were going to get the Hulk?
True.
We kind of knew Bruce Banner was in it, but they never showed us any Hulk reveal.
Yes.
And so we had no idea, and they had not talked about the Hulk.
Yeah.
You think the only real references to it, because they don't really reference the Incredible Hulk at all, other than there's one line where it's like, last time I was in New York, I broke Harlem.
Yes.
But
they really don't.
Not really. And you kind of get all you need to know about the Hulk in that first time Coulson and Steve Rogers are talking, which is Banner was trying to replicate the super soldier serum and thought the secret lied within gamma radiation. Yeah. So you could have literally omitted, not done, and just origined it there. And I think that would have been... better.
Yes. They almost treat it as if it is that. Yeah. There's only that one line that you mentioned. So there's really nothing that carries from that movie other than Thunderbolt Ross, who carries through the other MCU movies. So in a way, that movie doesn't hold a lot of weight, and it kind of feels like it is like a soft reboot.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters too much.
No, it doesn't. It just, I was watching it and I'm like, man, this would have been so sick if and it technically is because we never saw the Ruffalo Hulk, but it'd been sick if we had not seen anything of the Hulk and just literally introed him into the Avengers movies.
Yes, yeah. What a solid phase, though.
Great phase.
Phase 2, though.
Phase 2?
Also very good.
You're going to say it's better than Phase 1? I don't think you can.
No.
Because I don't think...
I
think the lows are a little bit lower than Phase 1.
Yes, I would agree.
Because Age of Ultron's not as good. We have the similar opinion that Age of Ultron's fine. We don't hate it.
I would go as far as to say I like it.
I like it too. I'm just saying it's definitely it's not of good. Avengers movie. It's definitely the low. Okay, but that's because Avengers 1's fantastic.
And then you have Infinity War
and
Endgame.
So it's not
the culmination.
I'm not saying it's definitely at the bottom, but I like it. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's a solid movie.
I think
we get some good moments. I mean,
so many good
Quicksilver.
Moments.
We get Wanda.
Well, I think that might be the people didn't like those takes.
I get that, but I just mean there's some good moments with adding in some new Avengers that does affect kind of the overall MCU.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think it kind of works.
I watched this today, Age of Ultron. And you know what the moment, the sacrifice that's made in the end of the movie, I would assume everyone's seen it. But
it's a long time.
You know how good that is? because they give us like this weird amount of Clint backstory.
Yes, you're right.
And it starts to like creep into the forefront of your mind. Like, are they making us really invest emotionally because they're gonna kill him?
Yes.
So I think that is like a really good,
Yes.
really good storytelling decision. Like, because we get like the family and the farm,
Yes.
and you're kind of like, and it's like doesn't feel out of place, but it started to dawn on me as I was rewatching. I'm like, oh man, like you would really think he was gonna die in that moment, just because of how they lead up to it, how he's kind of ushering in these new Avengers, how he, and then that moment where he's on the ship and he comes off the ship to save the kid.
Yes.
And I mean, like,
you're
there's
like, oh,
no
this
way
is it.
you thought that would, like, everyone
Yes.
probably thought he was dying.
100%.
Right there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. It does make that sacrifice a lot more worth it. I mean, do I wish he kind of carried into the other movies? Yes, but
Yeah. I mean, we probably agree. Aaron Taylor Johnson's a treasure.
Oh, 100%.
For James Bond, be James Bond.
That would be awesome. I'm so here for that.
think
Especially after seeing Bullet Train with him all dapper. Oh my gosh. 100% James Bond.
And then Craven? I'm just kidding.
Nosferatu. We got some good movies in it. I mean, we got Guardians of the Galaxy. Ant-Man.
Top. So that's what I wanted to say is, but I do think the best of the Phase 2 are better than Phase 1.
Definitely.
So that's hard.
That is really tough.
Because it has misses, but also has better. But like, I guess Phase 1's just middle of the road.
I would say there's only two.
It's tough because like Phase 1's the standard.
Yeah.
And then you have like Iron Man 3 and Dark World, which go under the standard. But then
Way
Winter
below the
Soldier,
standard.
huh?
Way below the standard.
False. No. Dark World's fine.
That's crazy.
Dark World's fine.
That's crazy.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not that big of it. It's awful.
Okay, it's
awful.
It's
what about it?
Very
what about it
mediocre
is
movie.
awful? I just said that.
Villains are very boring. I just don't think this story is anything interesting. I don't find the Ether interesting. I don't find the villain interesting.
Yeah, you don't find an Infinity Stone origin interesting?
Like, that's about the only thing I care about because of what happens in the other movies. But in the movie itself, I'm kind of like...
The foundation of Ragnarok is the story in Dark World.
Let's not go to Ragnarok yet.
Okay. It's bad.
It's one of the lower of the overall
I
MCU.
agree with you, but only because the other ones are so freaking good. It's really not that bad.
I mean,
When we get to the other phases, you're going to realize that it's not that bad.
There's definitely some bad ones towards recent years that I would definitely put below
I think
it.
Love and Thunder made everyone look at Thor: The Dark World like, huh.
That's actually kind of valid.
That movie is funny. It's got good action. I like Asgard. I like the Norse mythology. So
I get that
I
point
want
of it.
more of that.
Yeah.
And so when we completely abandoned it in Ragnarok, I thought it was lame.
I
But
do
like
get
people
that.
didn't really like Thor either for
True.
similar reasons.
That's true.
And I just don't think that was like something people really wanted.
Yeah. They wanted a more traditional superhero. Because we're used to Spider-Man. You're used to...
What's like the only... It's just like out of place in a way.
Yes.
Because it's kind of taking place somewhere else. Whereas all the other movies are happening...
Yes.
Like on Earth or whatever.
Yes.
So I don't know. I mean, but it's like you get Loki. The reason everyone loves... Like if you take Dark World... That's the origin of the Loki redemption arc is Dark World. To me, that makes the movie fine.
There's moments in Dark World that are important, and I will say, for the furtherance of the MCU, is it's worth watching. I'm not gonna say don't watch it if you're like watching through the MCU, but I think it's definitely on the lower end, and I still don't find the villains interesting at all.
I don't. In Thor movies, it's not on the lower end, in my opinion. But there is not an emotional. One of the strongest emotional beats for Loki's character is in Thor: The Dark World. It's when he's notified of his mother's death, and he phases everything into the walls, and he puts up that illusion in front of Thor, and you see the truth of how he's feeling.
Yeah.
That's like one of the greatest Loki moments, in my opinion, in terms of his redemption arc. And it happens in Dark World.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really argue with like the Loki moments because I mean Loki is one of the best things I think to come from the MCU through all of them.
Yeah.
His moments, The chemistry with Chris Hemsworth, I think it works really well. So even in that movie, I would say, I think you're right there. I just found that a lot of the other elements bring it down a lot. I'll give you those moments.
Yeah, but you can't list anything other than just the villains being bad.
But that's just, we say it all the time, though, in MCU
it's whatever.
movies. Like,
the villains are whatever.
Yeah, but I think that's big. I think that's important. I think we've gotten too used to villains being boring and villains being just kind of like one-dimensional. So I think it is. I mean,
do you like Doctor Strange?
Yeah, I like Doctor Strange.
You think Dormammu is like a top-level villain?
I think that movie is more complex than Dormammu. I think who is the other?
I don't know.
Mads Mikkelsen's character. I think he adds layers to it. I don't think Dormammu is that interesting, but I think Mads Mikkelsen is what makes the villain arc interesting in Doctor Strange.
I agree in terms of villains, like Malekith is not the most interesting, but the Dark Elves themselves, like I liked Another Race. I liked hearing the lore and how the other 9 realms work in tandem with each other in Asgard. Like that's interesting, and it's totally abandoned the rest of the way through, and it bothers me.
I mean, I agree. That stuff is cool. I like the lore of that. But it, for me, didn't make up for the villain still being boring.
I loved being in Asgard.
I love it too.
There's scenes like in the beginning. Well, there's like the intro when like Thor's like the big rock guy comes up. He's like, He's like, I accept your surrender, and then like destroys him. Like that's so funny. And Thor's awesome, and I love Thor's friends and all of Asgard. And like there's moments when they're just all like hanging out, having a drink in Asgard. I think it's so fun.
Yeah,
I think it's fine. I really think it's fine.
I'll give it to you.
I
don't agree, but I'll give you fine. But I don't think so.
I think it's fine. Like I think it probably hurt it because it came out after
Winter Soldier? No, when did it come out?
I think it came out before Winter Soldier.
It did. It was Iron Man 3, then Thor.
Yeah. I think I heard it because it came out after
Avengers. Yeah. Because I mean, with that recent memory,
but it's like it is the only one kind of in those movies other than Winter Soldier that doesn't have the problem of where is everybody else. True. Well, actually, that's not true because it does happen in London, and it's like where is everyone? But that I think that's weird because they come in at a inner space travel, whatever. It's not like it's happening in New York.
Yeah, I can believe it.
Yeah,
and it's kind of isolated to kind of like that warehouse that they're in.
Right.
Like I can believe that the Avengers wouldn't show up there.
Yeah.
I will give you, though, that especially in recent years, there's some movies way below that one. It like going into like phase 3, this would probably be in like my bottom 3 out of all the movies.
Yeah.
Now it's probably not my bottom.
Iron Man 3 also, I get not. I have an issue that nobody from the Avengers or Shield is in that movie. That's super weird.
Yes.
Just because of what happened, but the idea for AIM to hire and fake a terrorist for their failed bioenhancement experiments is a very good idea.
It is.
That's
really,
a very good villain idea. Yeah. Like that's super solid. And I'm
it's
sorry,
funny.
I'm sorry, it's like not the Mandarin you wanted
from the comics,
but you wouldn't have not been able to handle like that. Like that was like introducing a totally different type of. Now they could have picked something else.
Yeah, they could have.
But I do think in terms of Iron Man villains, that was a natural pick.
Yeah.
I get not liking it, and I think now that they've kind of redeemed it. Yeah. With Shang-Chi, that you could probably look on it with fonder eyes, especially because it's like they stole from the Mandarin.
Yes. Yeah.
Like that was something they actually like purposely modeled it after someone like that. So I think that's fine. But my only real big issue with Iron Man 3 is the suit's destroying, which they don't explain it all.
No, and then it just comes right back anyway.
Yeah, but so like Iron Man having like anxiety attacks is so good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It does make it interesting.
It's really good.
Makes it more human. Yeah. I'll give you that. Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know, you strip down Tony to basically no armor.
Yeah. I just wish they would have like held out on that for a little longer.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it didn't make sense in the Avengers and MCU. Like, I know that couldn't have happened.
I think Extremis is a weird choice.
Yeah, it is
for the third movie. Yeah. It's a big Iron Man plot point in the story of Iron Man.
Yeah.
And it actually leads to Iron Man healing in most things.
Yes.
But
I would say still a lower one.
It's
but
definitely
not the
lower,
worst.
but like some people say like these are awful, and I'm like, no, you don't even know awful, dude. Like,
yeah, let's talk about some other movies. Yeah. We'll know awful, but we did get Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy,
top tier
MCU
movies.
Oh yeah,
movies
and Ant-Man.
Ends another really good one.
Another good one. I love the heist
There's an
approach.
argument to be made. It belongs in that top 10. Ant-Man.
Ant-Man?
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, there could be an argument. I probably wouldn't put it in my top 10.
I wouldn't
but
either,
it's, I really love it.
I don't usually watch it on rewatch.
Yeah.
every
It's very
time.
original, though. I love the heist.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Pena's character. Oh, it's so funny. When they're in the van, he's talking about, like, my dad got deported. But I got the van.
But I got the van.
Classic. That's a good one.
The Baskin Robbins bit. It was like,
Oh,
it was
yes.
just a hot pretzel.
Just
Something hot.
Something hot.
Ice cream, dude. It's hilarious.
Great one. And then phase 3. This is the peak, I would say. Peak right here. Phase 3 is what we have been waiting for, or had been waiting for a long time.
Knockout punches on knockout punches.
This is when I think they hit the stride where it was just every movie coming out was at least going to be good.
Yeah.
Possibly great. And it really hit its stride. We started phase 3 with Captain America Civil War. You're right. What a banger to start.
What an event.
Amazing event.
You know how special it felt to also get an Avengers movie
Yes.
in that phase?
Yes.
Or like 2 Avengers movies?
Basically, yeah.
That movie was awesome.
Oh, so good. I mean, did you ever read the comic book? The Civil War comic book?
I know the basics.
You know the
story.
basics of it. I did before this came out. Like, I had it
Mm-hmm.
from, like, as a kid, so I was really hyped for it. But just seeing specifically Cap and Tony, Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., them going at it was so, like, emotional. And I love
You also don't, if you want to dog on Age of Ultron, a lot of that stuff doesn't work.
Without Age of Ultron. Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
It lays the groundwork for all of the problems and issues that the Avengers have leading all the way to Infinity War and Endgame. So without Avengers Age of Ultron, you're exactly right. This would not have been set up. But what an event. Avengers, what did they call it? Like
all
2.5?
the promotional materials and all the promotional stuff they did and just getting everyone so excited. I remember going to see it.
Team Cap, Team Iron Man.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they did it with the comics, but like it's just genius.
Mm-hmm.
And coming out of the movie, like leaning one way or the other, you can kind of have arguments for one or the other, I would say.
I disagree.
You don't? Oh, really? You think it's?
I think it's pretty obvious you're
Cap
supposed to
all the
like
way?
Cap.
Well, yes, it is obvious you're supposed to like Cap, but I think they made it believable. Iron Man's team's motivation.
Yeah, I think you can.
Like, think about the opening where
I think you can buy. I think they did good job storytelling where you understand their motivations. Like most MCU villains,
Yes.
like you can buy their motivation being good.
But it
and
is a
why they
Captain
would-
America movie.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
they definitely.
You're supposed to think Tony's wrong. Like you're supposed to think Captain America's right. Which maybe there's a complaint there that I just was gonna like Captain America anyways, because like Tony's argument is it's kind of super hypocritical from a perspective of you have him, he created Ultron, so he's tied to every life costed in Sokovia or anyone Ultron's killed. So then he comes into Civil War with this argument: we need to be put in check. Like that's not on the team. I don't know why Tony had so much like I don't know what ground Tony stood on to be able to point a finger at Steve.
I think it wasn't that he was pointing at Steve. I think he just, and I'm not trying to defend Iron Man here because I'm Team Cap, but just like I do get the viewpoint of, you're right. He was the overall cause of Sokovia. Wanda did cause it. It was the team there on the ground. The explosion happened. So I could see why he thinks as a team effort, this tragedy happened, but he also feels the guilt and weight from what happened in the past. That's what I thought. And then adding in the element in the beginning of, where he shows the boy, he says, he was there on a missionary mission or whatever he calls it.
Yeah.
I think adds the motivation to where at any point in the movie, when you're like I'm Team Cap, I don't really get Iron Man, you go, yeah, but that kid, like that's like the focal point is you remember.
No, I get why they ended
that one life is worth it.
Yeah, I get why they entered that in. It just doesn't sell me on siding with Iron Man.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I think they do a really good job of
I think he's too
that.
I think he's being too emotional. Like I think he realized he messed up and he's trying to make everyone else pay for something he did. That's how I see it. Which is good motivation for I think, good for the character. But to say like, oh, Captain's wrong because it's just about saving Bucky is like completely wrong. Like you think like one,
That's true,
they're
yeah.
agreeing, basically like that means like they would have to like be okay with when Shield decided to nuke New York in Avengers.
True.
Like
Yeah.
that's like the type of government system that they're kind of agreeing to sign up for.
Yeah.
So I get it's like we're stuck in the now of like the emotions and stuff, but I mean, Iron Man, it just seems like it's like the most like, you know, I did something stupid and I'm going to make everyone else pay for it.
Yeah.
But
I can see that.
It's not a complaint. It's just, I just don't, people who are Team Iron Man, I think you just like Iron Man.
Yeah. I just think I can see the argument for
I think I see the
that
argument.
the life is worth it.
See, I think James Rhodes, like I liked him. He was more compelling.
Yes.
Like from a side of just being a military guy and just being like, no, like, you know,
You have
it
to
makes
have
sense
these-
that he would think that's a good idea.
'Cause
you
he's
know
a
what
military-
I mean?
yeah,
But like, there's
exactly.
nothing about Tony that really makes me believe that he would do that until that movie.
I think that's what makes it interesting.
No, and I agree. It's a total
'Cause he
switch,
has
but it's
been-
just guilt on his own actions, not
Yes.
necessarily what Avengers has done as a whole. It's like I created Ultron,
So we all have
so
to.
now we all and because that Ultron did this, we had to stop it.
Yeah.
So now we're all gonna, then it's like Cap, you're being, irresponsible. You're tearing the Avengers apart.
Yeah.
I think there's an argument. It's like, no, Tony, you did.
Yeah.
You
'Cause
did.
You initiated
You meddled
it.
with something you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
And you've created these things. Like you're responsible for that.
Yeah. Gosh, that's what makes it interesting.
It's
though.
so good.
It's such
so
a good movie.
Going back to the Winter Soldier, I don't know of a Marvel movie that has more moments than that one.
Yeah, very much so.
Like Lemurian Star intro, the On Your Left in the beginning,
Yeah.
elevator sequence,
Yeah.
the rooftop sequence,
Yes, the rooftop sequence. Yeah.
Arnim Zola, the overpass,
Yeah.
in the middle of the street, the knife fight with Bucky.
Yes. Probably one of the best sequences across MCU.
Nick Fury being alive,
Yes.
stealing the costume. Great cameo by Stan Lee, by the
Yes.
way.
Love that.
Totally getting fired. And then just the entire last act is awesome.
It's just insane. Yeah.
I mean, that movie is all just moments.
Yeah. And it's the perfect grounded political thriller, but superhero movie
Yeah.
that you could ask for. It's so good. The Captain America series is just really good. The first Avengers is good. It's fine. Like, it's not like
I love it. I don't
I don't think it's great, but I think it's really
great. What's bringing you to that conclusion?
Again, I would say from kind of like a classic story standpoint, it feels enjoyable. It's good. I like the origin of him. I think it does really well. I think Red Skull is interesting, but I don't think he's like the most compelling. He just feels like a Nazi. Is it? You know what I mean? Like he's just kind of a typical
he is.
Nazi. But I just mean like your typical Nazi leader who just wants to do something crazy, which in this setting and in this movie is really good. I like that it's set in the past. It makes it interesting. There's great moments with them storming the bases. He's got the team. He's got Bucky. Like that all that stuff is really good. I just think it never elevated into, oh my gosh, this is a great movie. But I still think it's like, wow, this is a really good movie.
Purely I would disagree just from the Cap before the serum to after.
Yeah, I think that's all interesting.
I think that makes it all great.
You think that just makes it a great movie? Interesting.
How good did that look?
Oh, it looked great.
I don't know. I bought that Cap was that guy.
Yeah,
I
did too.
bought that Chris Evans was that small guy.
Yeah. No, I mean I'm with you. I just don't know if I would go as far as to say it's great. I would say it's
tough,
really
dude.
good. Like
it's you have Cap. He goes out there and saves Bucky.
yeah.
That's so good.
I think we would probably split hairs on this one. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
give me like tomorrow. I may say, gosh, you know what? That is a great movie.
That's a good point.
I think we're really close on that.
I don't
one.
think there's a miss in the first phase. That's what I'm saying. I think they're all. I think there's definitely outliers.
I don't think there's a miss either.
But I think they're all. I think Thor, Iron Man 2, and Captain America all might as well be the same in quality. and then you have Hulk, and then Iron Man 1 and Avengers.
So I would not put Thor, Iron Man 2, Captain America all in the great category. I would put them in the really good category. Or
You're
good category.
Yeah, we are splitting hairs
Yes,
here.
I was going to say that. I don't look at... The only one out of that phase that I would say is a great movie is probably the first Iron Man.
Not Avengers?
Oh, definitely Avengers
Okay.
too. That's a good point.
All right.
The Avengers and Iron Man would probably be the movies that I would say these are great.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is splitting hairs.
We are rambling, but it's fine because we're having fun. Guardians 2. Give me a real quick take on Guardians 2. Did you not like that? Because it was one of those I really enjoyed, and then I found out later everyone's like, this sucks. And I'm like, I had no idea. I thought it was fun.
No, I did really think it was fun. I don't think I really agreed with everybody. People seem to not like Ego very much.
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't get it either. I mean, I thought it was... Out of the three of them, it's the weakest, but I hate to say that because I don't think
it is.
that.
Yeah. It's like saying the first
weak.
Avenger is the weakest out of Captain America.
Yes, yeah.
And it's like, first Avenger is still good.
Yeah, exactly. But I did really like that one. I thought Kurt Russell was really cool.
Yeah.
Adding the dad element, especially coming out of the first one, was really interesting. And then kind of what they did with it, I thought was really cool. I thought the third act is great.
Yeah. It is a mess. It is a little chaotic. Maybe that's what people don't like.
It is a little, yeah. I mean, I couldn't argue against that.
I can see why people don't like the take of like Peter and Ego having this like matter battle, which is like weird.
Yes, yeah.
I don't care. I think it's funny. I think overall, if you like look at the movie as a whole, you get those like that funny first battle of Baby Groot dancing.
Yeah.
You get
that's so good.
The little like Rocket and Peter fighting for control of the ship and
Yeah.
all the funny things that happen with that. You're getting the Ego introduction. You're getting the also then the reveal when they find the tomb and all the corpses and all of that. All the Yondu stuff, the Ravager stuff is really funny.
It's really, it just carries over everything that you really love from the first one.
Yeah,
it just
I mean, it's not as
continues
good
it.
as the first one, but it's just as good. It's like just as, it's not like a miss. Like, I don't like people treat it. Like, it's not that bad.
Yeah, and I just never understood why people treated it as a miss, because I just didn't think, I mean, if anything, well, I won't say that. I mean, the first Guardians is great. Ronan the Accuser is...
Oh, talk about kind of a not that interesting villain.
That's what I was going to say,
which is why that's not a good argument for Thor: The Dark World.
But I would stick by the fact that the Guardians of the Galaxy and that overall dynamic probably carries that more than probably Thor: The Dark World. Just my opinion.
Oh, no, I agree with you.
But Ronan the Accuser is not all that interesting. Ego is probably a little more interesting just because of his tie to Peter Quill.
Yeah.
I almost hesitate to say that. Again,
I don't. I think it's fine. I mean,
Yeah.
can we just? I mean, like when he just says it in it, or he's basically like, it killed me to put that tumor in her head.
Dude, oh my gosh,
that's a great line. That's a
Yeah.
great turn.
What a moment.
Good twist. And the fact that for Chris Pratt's character or Peter it's not even be a hesitation. Just guns out, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
We're done. Like this, I love
That's
that
my
there's
mom.
not a conflict.
No.
There's not a conflict in his head. Like
Yeah.
it's like, nope. All right, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
So it's great. Overall, it's all really good.
Yeah.
I think Captain Marvel's of the weakest of three. You have Captain Marvel, Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
I have an interesting take that like Homecoming is like really fun because it's Spider-Man, but really it's not like anything super. Doesn't do anything like massively special.
Really? Vulture's awesome.
But
Vulture's probably one of the best villains we've gotten. I'm not going to say like in the top 5, but one of the most interesting, I would say, especially what they do with his character in connection to the love interest.
I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Oh, please no.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just don't. It's just about right to me.
Do you think it's
fine.
better than Far From Home? The second one. I would say yes.
Homecoming? That's tough. I think Far From Home, I like it a little bit more than Homecoming, just because it's like Mysterio's good.
Mysterio's good. I wish Jake Gyllenhaal was more interesting than Vulture, but he's not.
think having it take place after Avengers, I don't know. Just I think about like how broken Peter is in that movie.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just remember watching Homecoming and being like, cool, like being so excited about it, and then kind of walked out of it like, yeah.
All right. Wow. I was excited.
In terms of
like,
there's just like
I felt like Spider-Man was back.
See, I'm of the opinion. Well, I think it's a downgrade from Civil War. Like,
I think it just. I would say it's the
like
same
in terms
as
of
Civil
like
War.
the Civil War Spider-Man's the best Spider-Man we've ever received.
Really?
Yeah.
You think just that?
Like that and in essence, like how Tom that was portrayed. Like, dude, you have a metal arm? That's awesome. Like,
He does that in Homecoming, though. I think he carries all of it.
He's
from
way more
Civil War.
quippy in Civil War. He's not really that quippy in Homecoming.
He's quippy in Civil War because he doesn't have that many lines. I think all the lines they give him are just.
What do you mean? Hey, everyone.
I mean, yeah, those are classics. I mean, don't get me wrong. Those are great.
Captain.
You remember
Spider-Man?
Yeah.
There's no reason to start a dialogue. I think he's great in Civil War.
Yeah. I just think he carries that same charisma into all of them. I think so.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna disagree because I have a polarizing pick on who I prefer my Spider-Man to be.
Oh, that is true.
So I
We
think the
differ on
portrayal
that,
is
so that's why.
fine. It's just the moments in these other movies that I'm afraid to mention to get hate, but I will because
Go
it's
ahead.
freaking awesome. This is Andrew Garfield
Oh God.
kills it as Spider-Man, dude. He kills
That first
it.
one's good. Two
is
awful.
fine too.
No,
no. 2 has some of the best Spider-Man moments ever.
And the worst villains possible.
Sure,
Harry Osborn's
I'm
awful.
giving you that. But the highs of Spider-Man 2 top any Spider-Man movie.
Crazy take.
The intro to Spider-Man 2 is not freaking awesome.
You mean the Amazing Spider-Man 2?
Yes.
It's cool.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I think it's cool, but I don't.
Brandon, it's the best swinging we've ever seen.
Yeah, but like, it doesn't mean that movie's good.
I didn't say that.
I mean, I'll give you that.
I just said the moments
I will give you that. I will
are
give you that.
great.
There are some across both of those movies. There are some really, really good Spider-Man moments. I do like Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. The first movie, I like it. It's good. 2, awful.
Why is it awful?
Electro sucks. Jamie Foxx phones in that performance, and what they did with him makes no sense. Harry Osborn becoming Green Goblin, what they did,
I agree with this.
awful. It's too convoluted. They should have focused in on one thing, and they could have done it really well, but they didn't. If they had focused in on at least Electro, I think it could have been better. But they decided to divide their villains up, do whatever they did.
Yeah, I think it's weird.
They were trying to set up universe stuff. They were trying to add characters in and do all these things, and by doing that, it made the story too convoluted, and it didn't work at all. It fell apart so fast. 1 is good, 2 falls apart very quickly.
I don't know that I say it falls apart.
There's some good moments in 2.
I
will give you that.
That's
but
the
it
best
falls apart.
Spider-Man romance. Gwen and Peter.
I won't deny
It's
that.
better than MJ and
Toby?
Maguire.
Oh, 100%. The chemistry works
You like
better.
Gwen.
Yeah, you do. And you really buy into their connection. I mean, because they have like some intimate moments and conversations that you go, oh, this works.
Yeah.
It doesn't save 2 for me, though.
I think the opening swinging scene, Andrew just as a energy of Spider-Man. I personally really dig the parent stuff, which is, I think, what I hear. I'm surprised you didn't complain about that. Like, the parent stuff is a huge complaint. I love it because it's...
You mean Ben Parker being like involved?
Yeah, I think it's sick. And there's the take that it takes away because like Spider-Man's special because anyone can be Spider-Man. I disagree. I don't think anyone can be Spider-Man. That's not fair.
No.
It takes a special type of human that most people aren't.
Yeah.
It's a special type of selflessness.
Yeah.
So that's not a fair take. I love the parent stuff. I think it's
fine.
great. I think. Have you seen the deleted scene? By the way,
Of
when
I don't know if I have.
all right, spoiler alert. Gwen dies, and Peter stays at her grave. And his
I have
dad
seen that scene.
comes.
Yes, I have seen
That should have been in the freaking movie.
It should have been in the movie.
That
it would
was
have added
so
so
good.
much more weight to it. Yeah.
But like Gwen's death is the hardest hitting emotional death in a Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
Over Ben and over Aunt May.
Yes. It doesn't save the movie.
It
though.
saves it, dude.
There are good moments, but the movie sucks.
Him holding her.
Yes, you're right.
And the blood starts coming down.
It's
so good,
gut-wrenching.
dude.
I saw it in the theaters. It's gut wrenching, but it doesn't save the movie. I can't watch that movie.
I don't disagree. I don't like. I understand that you like. It makes sense to me, but it's so good to me.
It's so
dude.
cringy.
It's not.
I have watched
really
it. I have
not.
tried to watch it multiple times.
No way.
And
The
there's
Electro
so
stuff is
much that I cringe. I go, this is just the writing is just awful.
But he's the best Spider-Man we've ever. He's the best guy to do it.
I think
I'm not
he's
talking about a
good.
Peter Parker take. I'm talking a Spider-Man take. Like, in terms of Spider-Man, he embodied that. Like, he was.
I think Tom Holland embodies it better.
No, as Spider-Man, no.
I think he is quippier. I think
No,
because
he's
he's a little bit younger, I think he feels more like younger comic book Spider-Man. Obviously, we have a lot of iterations where he's a little bit older, a little bit more mature. But if you're thinking just classic, quippy, younger Spider-Man, I think Tom Holland is.
Well, yeah, because he
embodies
fits
that.
all of those categories you just laid out.
Yeah, but I think he delivers it well too. It's not just that he's young.
I think he's really, really good. I just disagree. I think he plays Peter way better than Toby did. I like him as Peter a lot. I just think I could just buy into Andrew's. I think I don't think No Way Home would have been as good if Andrew hadn't done that movie.
Oh, I'm with you.
Like, I think me and my brother walked out of that movie and we were like, Andrew's the best. And they knew it.
Yes.
They knew that he was funnier and that he's
better than Toby.
He shined more because
Yeah.
they gave him the moments.
Yeah.
Like, Andrew kills it. And Andrew's finally getting his day in the sun, but
He's the best actor of the three.
Yes.
Hands down.
Yes.
So they leaned into that for sure. And he does a good acting performance in the Spider-Man movies. I mean, like I said, I like him as Spider-Man. I think he fits. But it doesn't mean that the writing of the movie is
I
fixed.
don't disagree with you. It's just the moments in Spider-Man 2 are just insane. The fights are incredible. The intro, I'm going to stop talking about the intro, but I think the Electro fight's fun. I think him talking to Harry's super emotional. Like,
The Electro fight is fun as crazy. What a take, dude.
I just think it's funny. I hate this song.
Oh gosh, that's so awful.
When he's like trying to magnetize his
it's
web
awful.
shooters. When he's trying to magnetize web shooters, and he's like, and MJ's like, or not MJ, Gwen's like, I'm going with you, and he's like, okay, fine, close the hood. Psh, sorry, I love you, bye. She's like, Peter, and then throws her hand up. That's so good.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy,
Dude, it's so good. I love it. I think it's so good.
We're gonna do we're gonna watch The Amazing Spider-Man 2 together and like record it. It's just like a live reaction.
Here's the thing. I'm not above sitting here being like, you guys are all so valid.
Yes. Yeah.
I agree. I agree with everything you just said. It's just like, I think that portrayal just hit me where I lived at the time in my life. Because it was the first.
We all have those moments.
It's the first take that I felt like I actually related. One, I forget about this is like my strongest argument to Andrew. He makes Spider-Man fun. Toby and Tom don't. They bring like Spider-Man to be such a burden, and I agree that it would be. But it's like Andrew needs that. His portrayal is I need Spider-Man.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And I love it. And it makes you want to, it makes it fun. And he makes it seem like a blast.
Yeah.
And I don't think the other two really do that. And
Yeah,
I think,
they definitely
and
do
they
burden it a
still
lot more.
nail the burden with Gwen's death. They still kill it. Mm-hmm. It's still there.
Yeah.
And it rocks his world. Mm-hmm. I love it.
Yeah.
Her death to him taking that season out and then returning to fight the rhino, whatever. I don't like that, but like the rhino, I think it's dumb. But that emotional moment of when like he shows back up and they have the kids standing off and he's like, "You want to let me take this one?"
Yes, yeah.
It's so good. He makes Spider-Man so fun. And I think Tom and Toby portray it in a way that it just feels like it's like they could leave it at any moment and be indifferent if they never did it ever again.
Yeah. Yeah. Sony, give this man a Spider-Man 3. The Amazing Spider-Man
I don't
3.
think that's a thing. I'm like, I would love it, but I don't know if they should.
He's also 40. Like, he's in his 40s now.
He should play an old, like, have you seen the comics of like Peter with a beard?
Yeah.
And he's like, that's what he should do.
I would
like,
love that.
He
I would
should
be
do
down
that
for
stuff.
that. Because I do agree, he is the most charismatic out of the three of them. And he's what elevates the final act of No Way Home. Very much so. I mean, there's great moments, I think, with Tom Holland. Toby showing up is just, he's Tobey Maguire. He's the first Spider-Man.
You
so
have
it's
to have him in
huge.
it.
You have to. But Andrew Garfield does elevate that movie.
There's no way you walked out of No Way Home like, yeah, Andrew Garfield still sucks.
I don't think Andrew Garfield sucks.
No, but that was the consensus. I was a ride or die. Like, I took a lot of crap for this. And so when everyone came out of No Way Home like, oh my gosh, he's amazing. I'm like, no!
You can't say
You
that.
don't get it.
Yeah.
You don't get to say that. Same thing with Hayden Christensen when he came back as Anakin.
Yes.
Everyone's like, oh, wow. I'm like, no, shut up.
No, you've been hating
Shut
him
up.
for years.
You hated on him. You get to stick to that opinion.
Yes.
You need to wear it on your forehead and say you're sorry. That's what you say.
That's, man, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I think
our
one's
rap
the
and
strongest
review.
out of them as well.
Well, definitely, yeah.
But one, you can't say Spider-Man 2 doesn't look incredible.
Oh, yeah, for the time,
It looks amazing.
good.
And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
swinging is...
Yeah, the suit looks good.
It's fun. I'll give the Maguire movies a pass because
They're so freaking old.
they're old. But like, how in the world is this MCU missing on the swinging?
Very much so.
How does that happen?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah,
They have.
it's-
I would assume they would be able to get whatever input they needed from
They've
Sony.
got $250 million.
There's no
Why can't
reason
they
the
do it?
swinging should be stupid,
Yeah.
and it is.
And yeah, I think that in the MCU it has good moments, but there's definitely some noticeably bad moments where you're like, gosh, that just doesn't look like what we've seen from like the Amazing Spider-Man. So I would agree with you with that, definitely.
It just is evident that he's having a blast in the swinging.
Yes, yeah.
Like he is loving his life
Yes.
in in the way he swings as Spider-Man, which I think is special.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna cool down
Man,
because
take
oh
a
my
breather.
gosh, I'm sweating.
Get some water. The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
All right, yeah. So now we're gonna get to this non-controversial. Dark World's better than Ragnarok.
Phase 4.
Phase
3.
Phase
a couple
3
more.
is good. We
Yeah,
gotta
Phase
we
3 is
start
good.
rolling through it because we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we
But
do have a lot to talk about. Phase 3. I just want to make sure I didn't.
We're not going to say anything. I could probably take it because we're not going to say anything new in these next
right.
in these next half of these movies because we have Infinity War, it's the best Avengers movie. It's probably one of the greatest Marvel movies made. It is eloquently directed and executed. Everyone is acted perfectly, and everyone left that theater with their jaw on the floor.
Exactly.
So. Great movie. Russo brothers should do every MCU movie.
I think they are doing.
They are doing Doomsday.
Is it Doomsday or the next one?
I think they're doing Doomsday.
Might be Doomsday. Gosh, I'm so
I thought. I think
are-
I think they're. Yeah, I think they are.
That's awesome. I'm so happy for
And then Endgame is the perfect
Perfect ending.
ending. Does it
Culmination.
great. Awesome. My only complaint with Endgame is I feel like Cap's ending wasn't fleshed out enough. Like. We spent his entire character arc getting him to like. We take specific beats in these movies leading up to like get Cap over these humps of living, being a fish out of water, and finally kind of like coming to this, like it's like Age of Ultron has the best line where he's like, family stability, that all went in the ice, went in the ice with that guy, and something different came out, and I'm home, and that. And I'm not saying like I think you could get the character back to that point, but to not ever have the discussion and then bring him back in like one scene with Peggy, like I think it's emotional maybe, But I don't really buy that he would do that, just because I feel like we were taking a lot of effort to kind of get Cap's character to a point where, he was okay.
Yeah.
I
think it worked for me. It just felt like because of the ending with, spoiler alert, Iron Man dying, like it felt like it was the end of the era. He was like, I'm fine passing the mantle off. I'm done here. Tony's gone. He's the reason I'm in this. The Avengers are going to be in good hands. I can finally go back to what I've always wanted. I think he worked really hard to integrate with mankind where it's at now, but I think he never left that, if that makes sense.
But I never felt disagree. I disagree though. I feel like we took a lot of effort and character development for him to get him there.
But I feel like in each of his movies, though, there's moments where he's kind of still holding on to that.
Civil War is not. He lets it go in Age of Ultron. That's how I feel that strongly. With the line, the guy who wanted all that stuff went in, died in the ice.
Because in Civil War, because I'm thinking in The Winter Soldier, there's some moments specifically where he's kind of talking back to it. But you're right, in Civil War, he doesn't really ever talk about it at all in that entire movie. He's fully Avengers, fully I've bought in.
So I think it's a regression of the character to do that. I think it's an easy way out. I think it wasn't planned. I think it was probably introduced later into the development of the story. Maybe with Chris Evans just vocalizing that he didn't want to continue doing it, which is fine. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just I don't think it's as good as it could have been, and that therefore I kind of don't feel like it was necessarily planned.
I think with the timeline elements going into the past, it makes sense for him to revisit that, and then after Endgame ends, I've missed that. I feel like this is a proper end. I can go back. I've got a purpose, and I can, ride off into the sunset, basically.
I just think he had I think he built way more of a life present than he had back
previously.
Then.
Yeah.
So I think it was a regression of the character. I think it was almost weird, other than him really wanting to be with Peggy, but I feel like we got out of that. So I think it works great I don't need that nice of a bow on it, Yeah. I don't need him to be back with Peggy. I don't need that. I
think it was a good moment.
I think it's an amazing story character moment for him to just be I miss my window.
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's great.
Yeah. I mean, I think for ending the phase with these characters,
I agree. In Endgame, you have to intro in a reason that Cap's leaving. They did it the best that they could do it, but I don't think it was probably planned going in.
Yeah. He's probably going to come back anyways. It's not going to matter.
I think he's confirmed not to come back, actually.
You think so?
Yeah.
I see articles all the time of
and not that it means anything. Andrew Garfield lied through his teeth.
I will say he seems to be the one out of all of them that is pretty adamant on not coming back. I've hung up the mantle. I don't
know though. He's had some misses, man. Red Notice.
Red Notice. Did you see the Gray Man?
Yeah, I like the Gray Man.
It's
that's that's the Russo brothers.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I mean, it's good. I don't hate it, but
I like the Gray Man.
It's very different than what I've seen it been before.
Oh, I think it's okay, you need to bring this guy back to do the Hydra Captain America.
Yes, yeah.
Because he's such a good douche canoe, dude.
He really is.
Dude, we're talking about MCU, but the Ryan Gosling Evans fight is up there, dude.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
really good. Ragnarok, are we taking a stance that we're not very big on Ragnarok?
I think I would.
Yeah, we're not great on it.
I have so many people that I talk to, so many friends who adore Ragnarok. Yeah. And I go, yeah, I liked watching it. It's fun, but I don't love it. It would have been some people say it's in my top 3, top 5.
It would have been a better follow to pursue a story like that. Maybe instead of Love and Thunder, maybe.
I'd be fine if Love and Thunder didn't happen.
Yeah, but I mean, I just mean, it just was such a different, and I get it, they had to do a different take, because Chris Hemsworth was kind of, dead in the water, not really wanted to do it. It just is such a, I don't want to say character assassination, but it's just, so different than what we were getting.
It's such a left
And I don't
turn,
think anything is bad with what we were getting. I don't like Thor being a goofball.
Yeah.
Love it.
And in kind of to your point, because we were talking recently about this, in Infinity War, he loses a lot of that goofball and kind of becomes the Thor we know from like the first two.
Yeah.
And that's so much better.
Yeah. So
it does kind of go up and down based on kind of the scenario.
Yeah.
And goofball Thor is
like
just
Fat
not.
Thor is hilarious. It's funny.
It's a funny gimmick, but like I don't want my Thor fat.
I just think maybe if you wanted to do, maybe you could, if you had to look at it again, and if I were in charge, which there's a reason I'm not, because I'm not that smart, but I think, I do have a podcast, but
you think Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a good movie? That's why you're not.
I feel very I'm bulletproof on it because like I'm not going to argue that it has issues. It's just that's emotionally fair. I'm there. And I love it.
We all have those movies.
And you know what? If that movie doesn't exist, you wouldn't get Andrew Garfield in No Way Home, and No Way Home wouldn't be as the treasure that it is. Right. So there you go.
Maybe.
I wonder if they should have just done, like, had Thor team up with the Guardians and then done, like, a divert to the Guardians.
Yes.
And then done, like, something like Ragnarok.
I would like that better, I think. Because those characters work well together. And even when he's with Guardians, like, he's kind of, like, being a little goofball, but when he's like talking to Peter Quill, he kind of like gets serious.
He's very much Thor from Age of Ultron of the first Avengers.
And I'm like,
it's not the event. It's
why
not
are we
the Thor from Ragnarok.
Changing in and out of this character, being like funny and kind of fish out of water again, and I just don't know.
When did Ragnarok come out?
2016. I think it's 2016. Let's see. 2017.
2017?
November 3rd. It came after Homecoming and before Black Panther.
So it is very possible that they actually had filmed Infinity War before they had filmed some of Ragnarok.
That is a good point.
So so the Russo brothers probably not had written like him to be as goofy.
Because that came out, gosh, that's like just over 6 months from Ragnarok. I bet you're right. I didn't actually ever really think about that. So he was they were hearkening him to that more traditional that we know, whereas Taika Waititi was writing him
to be
so much goofier.
Yeah.
That's a good point. And it is such a left turn. I get why people like it, especially if you really buy into kind of the style of it, because it is very stylistic.
Well, yeah.
I'm saying if you really dig that,
I agree with you.
I'm like, oh, you're going to love this.
Yeah.
I didn't buy into it.
But here's the problem: is it introduced the worst quality of these next phases, which is Marvel humor.
Yes,
it sparked with this movie, and they never abandoned it.
No,
it's when it stopped being. It's when it stopped being action adventure first and comedy second, and then it was like, okay, we got to be so funny because Ragnarok was so funny.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I think too, they're like Guardians of the Galaxy, so funny. Works well. Everybody loves these movies. So many people love Thor Ragnarok. So they're just thinking, we've just got to double down on this because this is what's going to bring people to the theaters. But I just think they were wrong in that.
But yeah, so we had Captain Marvel, swing and a miss.
Yeah. Black Panther.
Oh, yeah. Lion King. Dude, I walked out of that theater like, wow. And I got on my phone. And it was like, Black Panther's basically the same plot as Lion King. I said, frick.
But it's still really freaking good.
It's really freaking good. Chadwick Boseman, just amazing.
Kills it.
It's great.
It is a good one.
We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to say anything new to that.
Last one I will say is Doctor Strange. I really like Doctor Strange.
Yeah, it's all right.
I think it's a good movie. I think it's different enough that it feels... The magical elements add something fresh. At that point when we watched
Did you know there's a Doctor Strange reference in Winter Soldier?
Yes, I did know that.
Yeah, I watched it today. Took me by surprise.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I don't even remember. I might have known that. I just forgot about it. We ended that phase with Far From Home, though, which is a good way. I mean, we're dealing with Tony's death, and I just don't buy in. Like, I get why. I just never was so on board with, like, Spider-Man having this, like, attachment to Tony.
Yeah.
Because we didn't see enough of their relationship to, like... I could see Tony feeling very responsible for Peter, but Peter and... I felt like that was just, like, for Peter to be there with Happy.
Yeah.
Like, that's Like, I think Happy. It's cool that Happy
feels like
responsible for Peter.
Yeah.
But like the fact that like one, he's there instead of Captain America before Pepper when Tony snaps. I think it's that. I don't like it. It's not my thing.
I think they needed that connection because they didn't do an origin story for him. And he's now just in this MCU. If Civil War is going to be his origin into the universe, he had to have some kind of entry point. So I think Tony, which was the entry point. So when they're thinking through it, they're thinking they've got that connection because he is the entry point for Peter Parker. For me, I think it works. I don't hate it. I mean, I don't think it's like the greatest thing, but I think it worked for me, for him to be the entry point and for that character, especially when you go through Infinity War and an Endgame. I think it's fine. I definitely think the Cap character or even the Thor character has more connection.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, it's classic too because Peter doesn't have a father figure. You know what I mean? So he's looking for something like that. I think it just makes sense. But Far From Home is one of those movies that I don't find myself wanting to go back to watch a lot more. Like, I think it's good. Like, I enjoyed it. I love Jake Gyllenhaal. I don't think it's his best performance, but I think for an MCU villain, like, it was interesting. I had fun with it. I mean, the sequences with Mysterio, are fun.
I forgot about this. My brother absolutely just floored me because I was like, I think Far From Home is like better than Homecoming, and I forgot about this, so I am gonna switch. I'm gonna go back to Homecoming. He goes, you don't think Christian? So shout out Caden, friend of the show, Caden, part of the focus group. He goes, Christian, really, like when Peter puts on the Stark glasses, the glasses wouldn't go, oh, Quentin Beck used to work for Tony Stark, kind of a jerk, and like
that is a good point.
And the glasses wouldn't go, hey, you're looking at an illusion right now.
Yes, yeah.
I was like, dang it.
Dang, that's a good point.
That's a great point.
I don't even know if I thought of that.
I know. I was like, dude.
Wow.
So I don't know.
That just crushed my world.
I don't know if you can credit Caden. Maybe you can. I don't know. Maybe you heard it from somewhere, but. Yeah, that's a good take. Yeah. And I'm like, dang, dude, that's so true.
Well, I hate that movie. I'm just kidding.
I know, I hate it.
It's after Endgame, like, it's almost like, what are you going to expect? Like, it's not going to live up to that. And dealing with the fallout, it's fine. It is what it is. It's fine.
We set out to make the overview of the phases a 15-minute segment. We're at an hour.
Yeah, that's...
All right, let's just lean into it. We can talk 4 real quick.
I think 4 is going to be a little bit quicker because there's a lot.
What do you mean? There's a lot more stuff to go over. Here, I'll help you out. WandaVision hits. Falcon Winter Soldier miss. Don't say a word. You're done.
Solid.
No, it is not. It is
has
not.
A lot of problems, but still an enjoyable watch.
Okay.
We'll leave it there.
Was your you want to go back to TASM 2?
No.
It's just as bad.
No, I don't think
it's just as bad. I think it is.
No.
I think it has great moments like TASM 2.
U.S.
Agent decapitating the guy with shields, awesome.
I just can't. I can't give you that.
Bucky getting his butt kicked by a flag smasher British chick is not awesome.
Electro, Harry Osborn, that whole part of the movie does not equate to the elements of Falcon Winter Soldier. I think their chemistry works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't.
It doesn't work.
I think they had good moments in Civil War.
Their Civil War chemistry is way better.
I'll give you
their chemistry, because they have some. No, they don't have chemistry.
I will not die on the hill that this is a great show, but I enjoyed it more than most.
Why?
I'm bulletproof because I know it has a lot of problems.
No, you're not bulletproof.
But
I'm going to poke holes in this ship.
But I enjoyed it.
It's going down, Brandon. Jump ship. It's bad. Just come over to our side.
No, I can't. I enjoyed it too much to say that.
What?
It did, and we'll see here soon, but it did make me go, I see Sam in the cowl. I see him in the mantle of Captain America. And it gets me excited for Captain America. Brave New World. I won't linger on that one too much. Continue on.
Yeah, agreed. Miss. All right, Black Widow. Miss. Say it together.
Swing and a miss.
Does it hit or miss? Miss. Loki
Big time.
season 1. Hit.
Hit for sure.
What if? I'm indifferent. I don't think it needs to exist.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi. Hits.
Hits for sure.
Eternals. I'll say it hits.
I think it hits.
I think it came out at the wrong time.
I think so too. I think
Also,
expectations were really weird going into that movie.
yeah, I also
People didn't know
I
what it
also do
was.
stand that I think the story. I think we talked about this briefly beforehand, but that there's no reason it needs to be based in a modern setting. Like it should have just been based like thousands of years ago, like how they tell a lot of the backstory, and then just give us some brief glimpses of them living in today's society. I don't think they need to be current. That saves a lot of issues with why you have these earth-shattering events and no one else is involved.
Yeah.
Hawkeye. Miss. I struggle. I go back and forth. I think
I
think
do
it's a
too.
net positive for me. Just because
I think Haley Steinfeld's really good.
I think so. I think Yelena, like Florence Pugh, is like the best part. Like her interactions with Katie are way better.
100%.
I think I don't know if you remember, but there's a lot of hype because like we got some Kingpin stuff and it was blowing everybody's minds, and that was not executed great.
No,
But I think the Ronin stuff is cool.
Yeah.
Like really cool. I think.
I definitely came out of that show wishing we sat in that Ronin era for a season or something.
For sure.
That would have been insane.
No Way Home. I mean,
Big hit.
big hit. I mean, come on.
One of the best theater experiences of my lifetime.
Yeah.
It really was, gosh, such a good Spider-Man story.
Do you think it only works on nostalgia?
No, and this is the hill I will die on. They did not just show up at the end and just, boom, they're here, they fight. They serve the story.
Yeah.
And I think them serving the story and playing a part is what makes that movie even better than just the nostalgia beats. That's why I think No Way Home is a great movie. I think the nostalgia does add a lot to it. I'm not going to deny that. I mean, those moments when they show up is, goosebumps. But because they add into, they're trying to find work everything together, their chemistry back and forth, the quippiness, like it all works for a large portion of the movie. I mean, they're in like the whole like back half basically. I think it works really well. So it's not just, it didn't feel like nostalgia bait to where they're just thrown in at the end. Hey, come fight. They give them like a good wave and then they're back in their universes. Yeah. They serve the story.
They're in it for a good hour, like almost an hour, 45 minutes.
So I think it works.
I agree. I think it is stellar storytelling. I do think that Peter is kind of annoying. I'm sorry, Tom Holland's Peter's a little annoying, just because I don't buy that he would risk the entire universe to save 5 lives. Like, I don't think he struggled. That was a talked out, like, he made a lot of dumb decisions that just worked out for him.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's cool that Toby and Andrew got on that side, but I also could see a story there where they disagree with what Tom was doing.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have time to really get into that, but I think that, like, that's kind of annoying that he was like, no, I'm not going to listen to Doctor Strange.
Yes.
I think it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
He beat him with math. No. I don't really.
That sequence though is so cool.
It looks so cool.
It looks so
Man,
good.
if there was only something I referenced where I said it looks so good, but you said, but the rest of it doesn't make sense. TASM 2. Weird. Okay.
I don't think the Electro fights are all that good looking.
Okay. I'm not talking. I guess I'm not talking about the end one.
Meant?
No, I'm talking about the slow-mo one through New York where he swings up and like Electro is like flashing in and out of view, and it's Spider-Man swinging through the city, and you're seeing Electro pop up.
Oh, is it the one at
screens.
night?
Yeah.
Oh, that's
and the
cool.
ones where he's like
and then they end up in Times Square.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Okay, I got you. I thought you were talking about like the end Electro fight. I was like, that's
no,
I don't like that. I would.
It's-
Yeah,
I
that's a
think-
cool moment in the movie.
I
will
like
give
that.
You.
That's what I
probably the
mean.
best Electro moment.
That's what I mean.
That's about it. Yeah.
Like the moment where he's like materializing,
Yes.
and then
It's a good
Spider-Man's
shot.
like pulling up on the web as it's all like in and out of slow mo. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
But No Way Home is stellar. It just absolutely
Oh yeah.
redeems. For most people, brought Andrew Garfield. Like everyone realized how good Andrew Garfield with, and I agree. Like the storytelling in those movies isn't great. I don't know why they handed those movies off to a music video director. Big bad decision. Yeah. But in terms of Andrew, I can just get behind it.
Okay, we get it.
Okay, but
we
like
get
it's
it, dude,
the same
okay?
argument as Man of Steel, dude. It's the same thing. Like Man of Steel, the take is different, the direction's different, but we like the portrayal, so we're fine with it.
Oh, but I would argue that Man of Steel. We won't go down that hole, but I would say
I think you
villains, world, all of that to me is still interesting.
You don't think it's interesting in
Spider-Man
Spider-Man?
2?
You don't think the villains in the world and Peter and Gwen, like all that's interesting?
In TASM 2, I don't.
Really?
No, and I could care less about them. I think in 1 it works
You
really
just said
great.
you just said that Gwen's death hits you super emotional.
Villains. I could care less about the villains. Oh, Gwen? For sure.
That's what I
Like
mean.
I said, that chemistry is better than... I agree with you. Is better than Mary Jane and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But the villains, I could care less.
Yeah.
I think the villains in Man of Steel... Are they the most complex ever? No. But I understand their motivation. I think they're interesting. I think Michael Shannon does a fantastic job playing General Zod. I think that movie overall, I think, is good. I die kind of on the hill of... I think it's just overall good.
I think it's overhated. I think there's definitely issues with it, but we'll talk about it later. Yeah, so good. I was never off the Andrew Garfield train, but I got people on the Andrew Garfield train, which is I'm always down for. Moon Knight. 3, 2, 1, miss.
Hit.
I knew it.
Slightly. I almost hesitate to say
The
hit.
the
first like 2 or 3
the
episodes.
first Moon Knight reveal is the best part, but you don't like half the cool stuff. They don't show you.
Yeah, the back half is definitely weak. I think they took it a direction I don't like. But I still was enjoying Oscar Isaac and the Moon Knight character throughout it.
Yeah.
Even if I wasn't loving everything around it, even in the back half, I still kind of enjoyed Oscar Isaac playing Moon Knight. So I think that's why I say barely a hit. It did make me go, I would love to see Moon Knight more. Mm-hmm. Because I just think the character's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, no. All right, I'm ready.
All right, this is turning into just an MCU overview.
That's
We're going to have to
fine.
film something separate for the
That's
rest of the
fine, that's
segments.
fine, that's
Okay, lock in. Here we go. Put on your gloves. Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness.
3, 2, 1, hit.
Swing and a miss, dude.
Hit.
Swing and a miss. It is the biggest letdown in this phase.
It is the biggest letdown, and I think it's your expectations' fault.
Here's how it's not my expectations' fault. It's called Multiverse of Madness, Brandon. In the pitch meeting, I mean, honestly, I was telling my brother this, like, for real. All right, I'm going to call it Multiverse of Madness. We love it. How many universes are we going to? 2. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Oh, dude, how are they different? There's pizza balls, and Doctor Strange doesn't have a mustache. I'm in. Let's do it. No, it's not a Multiverse of Madness movie. That is the movie's fault. That is not my fault. That is the movie's fault for calling it that. That is a terrible. There's more better multiverse in No Way Home.
And No Way Home, though, how many universes did they go to? 3?
They didn't go to any in No Way Home. What do you mean?
In No Way Home, I mean, they're pulling in characters from 3. Is it just 2?
Yep.
Because it's just from... No, it's from The Amazing Spider-Man. Oh, I see what you're saying. 2 outside of Tom Holland's universe.
That's
3
a better
total.
multiverse movie. It's called Multiverse of Madness. It's a terrible title for that.
But I
terrible
think
title.
Everybody's expectation going into it was that it was going to be this bonkers, everybody's coming back.
Yeah, you know why? Because it was the post-credit scene for No Way Home.
Yes, but I don't know why people put on Wolverine's coming back. We're seeing Fox people.
I
We're
agree
seeing
with you.
all of these.
I agree with you. But
I think if you didn't go with that expectation, you would have been satisfied only going to or seeing a couple iterations of Doctor Strange, getting some characters.
I disagree.
Because I don't think we needed to go to 15 different
You called it
multiverses.
Multiverse of Madness.
I think it was still pretty mad.
No.
I think it was still pretty crazy with what happened. I mean, I don't
pizza
think
balls are crazy. They're definitely different than pizza rolls.
I think Wanda Maximoff
Yeah,
ripping
that's the best
through
part.
John Krasinski's Reed Richards is pretty mad.
That's the best part.
Yeah. So I think it delivered on multiverse. It didn't deliver on everybody's expectation.
Yeah, because
it delivered on giving us some multiverse
You
stuff.
cannot think that it did not set that expectation.
Okay, I will say that they didn't set the expectation high for be looking for characters. They announced Patrick Stewart. You see him in the trailer, so you're like, oh shoot, they're bringing in like Fox, they're bringing all these people. Everyone else brought in though that they're going to all these multiverses.
Yeah.
We're going to see 15 different Doctor Stranges. They're all going to battle. I mean, all these crazy things were built off of what they just revealed a couple characters in the trailer. I still think people went in with expectations that we were going to go to more
No, I agree.
universes
But I think
or
that's
dimensions.
Yeah, I agree with you. I just think that's the movie's fault. That is not on the audience.
I think it is on the audience because they never said we're going to a specific amount or all of these. I think you're right. Multiverse of Madness portrays it's going to be kind of crazy. There's going to be multiverse characters in it. But I think we put on the expectation of we didn't get enough. And I will die
America
on that
Chavez is not a good character.
I will say
cannot-
that's okay.
You cannot convince me. I said it already, but I'm going to say it again. You cannot convince me Doctor Strange wouldn't ask for help. Now, this is a problem with a lot of MCU movies.
Well, and
it rings my bell that in this because if they you know what they could have done?
Mm-hmm.
They could have had her just show up.
Yeah, they could have, yeah.
And just start murking people and then guess what? They go to a different multiverse. There's no time. Yeah. But no, she gives him 48 hours to make a plan. And his best plan is not to get Earth's most mightiest heroes. It's a terrible plan. That's bad. That is bad. That's not good.
I can agree that a lot of these movies, it struggles with the fact of this is a world level threat.
This one does it worse.
Why are we not doing
this
that?
Is the worst one.
But I think in what we established with Doctor Strange's power level, I think he thinks with the help of the other sorcerers, that's what they're called, I guess, yeah, that this is a threat that he can contain. I can buy that.
I don't.
Because, I mean, from the comics, Doctor Strange is supposed to be one of the most powerful beings in the universe. More than most of the Avengers. So I can buy that he would think, along with the help of Wong and others with similar powers, I can contain Wanda. I don't have to go to the Avengers.
Yeah, I could
This
totally.
is a threat that I can buy. Oh, gosh, here we go.
No way. You know why?
I can buy it.
What am I going to say? Do you have any idea?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, here it is. He thinks he has a shot at containing someone who was able to create an entire new reality in a town without even trying.
He could do the same thing, though.
No, he can't. He cannot do that. That is a Wanda-specific thing.
I will give you that they don't necessarily set that up as far as he is able to do some of those similar things, but they do set up that him being the supreme whatever it's
Wanda
called.
has the power of creation.
Yes.
That is her ability.
I know.
Set.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm saying he has levels of powers that I would think that he could go into it and go, I can contain her. Do you see what I'm saying? And I'm trying not to add in like what I know from the comics, and I'm trying to think of just how they set it up. But I mean, they set it up in the Avengers movies. I mean, he can see all realities. They set him up as one of the most powerful characters in the MCU.
Then they should have said it. There should have been a line in the movie.
I don't think there needs to be a line.
Yes, it does.
Because of what he displays.
Make sense.
I think what he displays in the Avengers movies.
She puts more of a whooping on Thanos than he ever did.
Yeah, I mean, in the fights, I would say yes, but I also would probably argue that his role in those fights worked a little differently.
How hard is it to put in? Like, I just don't know why no one thought of that. It's easily fixable with a line.
Yeah,
I
think they probably, and I'm probably adding into what I don't know what they're thinking, but here's my thought process: is by showing the level of power that he does have, they're showing you he's really powerful. He can control time. I know that's with the stone.
Not
but
anymore.
I know, but I'm saying that's with the stone, but his other abilities are high level that I just buy that he could think I can contain this. It's within my realm. It's still dealing with sorcery. I can contain this. I don't need the Avengers. He may not be as more powerful as her, but I can see why he's thinking I am the supreme sorcerer or whatever it's called.
Why did he raise an army of sorcerers?
Well, because who wouldn't?
Yeah, like who wouldn't call the team that you're on?
Yeah,
like, you're on an Earth Mightiest Heroes team, world-saving, universe-saving team.
Unless he's thinking like, and maybe I'm just kind of adding in there.
I agree.
Know, what is Cap gonna do?
Let me give you some points. I'm gonna give you some points.
No.
You are very valid that out of all of the current Avengers,
Yeah,
he's
the most
only
equipped.
one. Yeah, I agree with you. Mm-hmm. But to not enlist the other Avengers, at least as a common sense ploy, people who are attached, who she has attachments to, like Sam. Mm-hmm. Sam would have been a great character to come in and try and like
talk her down.
Clint would have been a good character.
That.
Clint would have been a great addition to that movie to try and calm her down.
Yeah.
Like that's the stuff that I just can't.
Yeah.
Like that just to me bothered me immensely. Like, and the fact that it took a point to say you have 24 hours, and I'm like, this is your plan. 24-hour plan was to just let it happen.
Yeah.
Like I just don't.
I mean, I think that harkens to she still has humanity, giving them time. That's what I think.
I mean, yeah.
She's still Wanda.
She's Wanda.
Conflicted in the movie.
I like all. Here's the thing.
I mean, I think she's one of the most interesting villains.
There's moments. It's just like I don't think that's on our fault as an audience. We went and saw this movie together. By the way, do you
Yes,
remember that?
we did.
It was one of the first, I think, Marvel movies we saw together.
Did, yeah.
So I'm not. It's to me, it's a miss. It may not. I don't think it's garbage. Like some people, it's definitely a miss because it did not deliver on. If it's not, I agree. People put in Deadpool Wolverine's a great example. Deadpool Wolverine did not meet every expectation, and it did not exceed. It exceeded expectations, but it did not hit on everything everyone wanted it to. It's still good. It's not a miss. It's a hit, but it didn't deliver on this savior of MCU. I'd say Doctor Strange just missed, and whether or not we had a bad, like an unrealistic expectation going in, that it still missed.
I would say the expectations were way higher for Multiverse of Madness than Deadpool Wolverine. As far as the multiverse elements, we knew going into 100%. Dude, they were saying Hugh Jackman's coming back.
I know what they
Professor
were,
X.
I know what they're saying.
All of this stuff.
I know
and
what
then
they
people
were saying.
came out and went, all we got was these multiverse. This movie sucks. I think
I'm thinking more
crap.
like I was just putting the 10 years of Hugh Jackman behind the other hype. So that's why I said,
I get you.
But no, I agree with you in terms of, but what if did it better?
That's sure. I don't know. I mean, I could care less about what if.
Me too. I'm just saying it did.
I would say if you peel back the expectations and you just go into it, I think Wanda's a great villain. Yeah. I think Doctor Strange against Wanda is interesting. I think, again, I'm not going to say this is a perfect movie. I think it does have problems. But I think overall as a movie, I think it's interesting. I think it's good. I think it's executed well. And I think the multiverse elements that we do get are interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
It delivers on some of the things that we like. So when I came out of it, I thought, that was a good movie. I enjoyed that.
I think the best part of it is that Sam Raimi directed it.
Yeah, and I think his style adds flavor to it.
Yeah,
I would give that. That's
with
another
you.
point. So I come out of it going, this is good.
What type of expectation do you think people are going to get when you reveal you're bringing Patrick Stewart back as Professor X?
I think
that's not fair to say that we wouldn't expect there to be more. When there's not more. There's really not.
I would say that the level of expectation was getting out of hand when they revealed Professor X, because I was hearing from people I knew speculating.
I remember us talking about this.
I saw the article, Hugh Jackman's probably coming back. That's the one that I just
remember. I actually do remember us sitting.
Or the Spider-Man. Is Andrew Garfield going to pop it? Like, all these crazy, we're bringing in all the universe
I remember
stuff.
having this conversation with you and another friend.
Yeah.
At the church.
Yeah.
And we were, I remember I think we were both probably playing the setting expectations game that like this did not have to have all these people in it.
Yes.
But I don't disagree that it kind of under-delivered. even if you strip all the expectations away and just take the movie title, and then to take it, the fact that it's off the back of No Way Home, it's advertised as another multiverse movie off the back of No Way Home, it totally misses a little bit in terms of like, it's all right. Why does America Chavez like have like, I don't know why America like needs to be in that movie.
Yeah, and that is a big problem with
I don't know
movie.
why that like she has to be in that. I don't even think she's essential. Like,
yeah, I don't think so either.
They through writing they make her essential, but I think you could have a movie with just Wanda and Doctor Strange.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That's definitely one of the weaker points in the movie. I just don't find her character that interesting.
I think
Wanda, and I think they could have done a spell. They could have done something to where she was not necessary.
I think Wanda's a great villain though.
I think she's a fantastic.
I'd prefer her to end as a villain, to be honest. I don't even think you need a redeemer. But we're going to get her back in Doomsday. So it's all right.
I think I still really like it. I don't think it under-delivered. I think it just delivered. I don't think it over-delivered. I think it could have. I think it could have been crazier. And I will concede to your point about No Way Home. It kind of is in the same level of No Way Home. It doesn't really like supersede it. But I think...
You think it's the same?
I mean, it's like... What do you mean it wouldn't be the same?
What do you mean it didn't super... It's not as good as No Way Home.
No. It's not as good as No Way Home. I mean on the multiverse element. It kind of delivers the same. Yeah. Only a few characters show up. So I can see your point of we came off No Way Home. You expect this to be bigger. More characters, something. But I think it got out of hand. And if I tried to peel back the expectations, I still think it's an enjoyable movie to watch. I don't think... it really deserves the hate of people going, gosh, that's an awful movie. I think if you didn't have your expectations...
I'm sitting here, TASM 2 is not that bad, and I'm over here. So
yeah, your point's invalid.
Yeah,
I'm just
there
kidding.
you go. No, we all pick and choose.
That is seems to be my hot take. I don't know many people around me that like Doctor Strange.
We all pick and choose, so it's fine. It's true. We do. We overlook certain things because we enjoy the movie. I just don't know if you've convinced, like you agreed with me on using Spider-Man as an example, that like, oh yeah, some of the moments in Spider-Man are great. That I don't think there's like a really like, other than Wanda being cool, but like I still thought WandaVision did Wanda a little bit better in terms of being the secret villain revealed. Like all that's like Wanda's cool and definitely shines under Raimi's direction as like a horror director. I just think totally underutilized.
I just think there's so many good moments. I think there's good moments. I think Wanda's good. I think the style's good. I think it paced very well. I think it's interesting. Okay. I think it's fun.
All right, fine. Let's just go to a knockout. She-Hulk.
Oh man, that's probably the best MCU project we've got.
I mean, it's a top 10 for sure. I mean, I don't even
top 5.
Yeah, I mean, what it did for Daredevil is my favorite part.
I mean, that's the best iteration of Daredevil we've ever gotten.
I agreed.
The Walk of Shame that he did
is great.
Best sequence we've ever gotten.
Best sequence. It makes total sense. It's really funny.
Did you actually finish She-Hulk? No, I don't think I did either.
I only watched it. I watched the first episode, the second episode, and then I watched YouTubed the Daredevil stuff.
Gosh, it's awful.
The Walk of Shame made me so mad. I can't believe people are like, "What? That's fine. It's funny." No, it's not. That actually makes zero sense.
Yeah,
like it doesn't. Like there's no reason he couldn't just walk home in normal clothes.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
Okay, whatever.
Terrible project.
Werewolf by Night, really good.
Great.
Wakanda Forever.
Hit or miss?
I think it's a miss, man. I think it's a miss. But it's not the movie's fault. Like they just had, like I think the director did a good job with what he had.
Yeah, I'd probably have to lean towards miss.
I think it's a miss though. I don't think.
I think it's okay.
If you're
I'm gonna have to give it a miss.
I would say like Dark World's kind of a miss because I don't think it's as good as the first Thor.
Yeah.
In that aspect, and then in the same way, I would say Wakanda Forever is kind of a miss. Holiday special, Guardians of the Galaxy is awesome.
Yeah, that's fun.
It's
so
really
fun.
Then we have. So we're in the current phase. This is the phase we're currently in. We only took us an hour and 40 minutes. This is too long.
That's awesome.
We're gonna have to cut this up into phases.